Hey everybody, good morning. How are you? I hope you're having a great morning. Well, today is the first day of spring. Yay! So of course we're going to do a spring painting. But I'm going to use this mixed media paper, a pad that I made into a block. You see, I cannot pull it up. I put Mod Podge all around the sides, leaving one little gap area so that I can take it off. It works wonderful. I'm not going to spend the money that they charge for blocks. It works great. You just put a little something, I usually use this because it's nice and flat, and then I put it right underneath the area that I have saved out and go right underneath and go around, pulls off, works wonderful. It stays that way. Your paper stays flat and it comes off and is flat, and it works wonderful. You should try it. So with further ado, let's head on down to the table. Okay, so here we are back at the table, and I've just drawn myself some really quick little boots here with, they're going to be some flowers, tulips, coming out of them. So what I'm going to do, and I've halved this page because I don't need this whole page for practicing, so I just, in my mind I've got an invisible line here. And this is actually mixed media paper that I have added watercolor ground to. You look it up, you'll be able to find watercolor ground. You put on a thin layer, let it dry, and it totally makes it so that it accepts the watercolor. It works great. This actually was bought by mistake, so it worked out great for me to, I remembered, oh no, that's right, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's right, I've got watercolor ground, so you can put it on just about any paper that has some sort of, thickness to it. I don't think it would work on printer paper or anything like that, but something that, has some sort of decent amount of thickness. So I'm going to lightly, very lightly, I suppose I could have made these boots a little bit bigger so you could see, but if you zoom in, you should be fine. And I'm going to choose some really nice light, and you know what I forgot to do, folks? I forgot to spray my paints. So just 1 second, please. They're kind of wet, but they need a little bit of something. Okay. And I'm going to take I believe this is a sap green. Yep. And I'm going to add a little yellow to it. Lighten it up a little bit. A little more water. And we're going to just put it, I have a flat brush here that I'm using. I don't need a flat brush. I can use a brush. I could use a round brush, but I kind of just happened to grab this one. If it doesn't work out, we'll go to the round one. But I think this will be fine. Just have to pay attention to what I'm doing. So I'm using the flat side. I'm using the chisel part. I'm using the corner. I'm basically using all the in another tutorial that I have, all the trying to think of the word, exercises that you do to nimble up your hands to do all these maneuvers with your hands. Exercises are really great for all that. So I'm just going to put it on its chisel right here. Kind of use that for the sides. I may switch over to a round brush, but right for the moment, I think I would rather use a round brush here. That's all right. That's okay. And I'm going to use one of the Transin with the beautiful tips on them, and I'm going to use that instead. So I'm going to add a little more yellow there and go over to the next one. I'll put a little more, take a little color. I wanted these boots to be a little bit, not real dark, but semi-dark, so, and I want some highlights. So these Transin brushes, for me, I just love them. I love the way they work. Need a little bit darker to outline. I love the points on them. They just seem to work so well. So I need to get some darker color for the seams, you know, of the top of the boots. Now this is, like I've mentioned before, this is no photograph. It's not going to be perfect. It's a depiction of boots, watercolor. So nothing's going to be a perfect picture here. That's not what I'm aiming for, right? So we're just going to use this and add this in here for some darker places. And then get some more paint and come over here to this boot. This is a short video. It should not, what I'm doing with this brush is I'm going around the leaf that I drew. I was kind of leaving that. I don't necessarily have to, but, you know, I decided that I would. To kind of just show you how wonderful these tips work. I'm going to make this darker right here, because one boot is sitting behind the other boot, so you're obviously going to have some shadow there. And we want to darken the top a little bit. I'm just using the very tip of this nice brush and outline the other part of the other boot. I also want to outline the bottom of the boot. This is nothing of perfection here, folks. Just a quick little spring tutorial I thought would be fun. Take a little bit of that out, leaving some some shadow. And then I'll put some highlight on the foot, because the sun is probably, you know, or the shadow would be on the bottom of things. I'll add a little more darker in some areas here. So right now I'm kind of layering, right? Then I'm going to get my brush just wet. These brushes hold a lot of water. So you keep that in mind. Okay, so I think, you know, for the boots, that's about all I want to do until it dries. When it dries, I'm going to add some white polka dots. And those white polka dots are going to be with white acrylic paint. In my palette, I always have, well, that was too much paint. I always have in my palette some acrylic paint, a little bit. Now with the tip of this brush, I'm going to paint in, and I'm going to use quite light pressure. I'm putting in just a bunch of stems. I have to remember to press really lightly here, because these stems are going to be the stems for my my little tulips. All right, so that's going to be enough. All right, and that was using the very tip of this beautiful brush here. Wash that off, take some of the water off, shape it a little bit. All right, now what I'm going to do is I want to get a little orange, add it into the green and the yellow that I have there, and with the tip down in the belly, oh, we need a little more green. Okay, tip down and belly, I'm just making some leaves that are kind of hanging over here. I don't have a lot of water on my brush, and I don't have water on my paper, so I'm the one doing most of the controlling of this paint at the moment. Okay, a little water on it, smooth it out a little bit as I go, and that gives me a little highlight on the top, right? All right, so I'm going to put a little more yellow on there, and in a few areas I'm going to do the same thing. I can do it this way, or I could do it the other way that you saw me at the very beginning. I'm going to put a little blue into part of one of those, and with the tip down, I'm going to come down like that on this one, and here. And then I have a pretty green leaf tip down, just sort of wiggle it around and come up on my tip like this for that big leaf, that big old leaf that's in the center there. And I want to add some darker green towards the bottom. So to that color, I'm going to add more blue. Oh, I need a little more. Get my darker green here. Okay. And we're just going to add in some darker green towards the bottom of these leaves. Move it around a little bit. And as you can see, I'm working on that paper that I told you had watercolor ground. So you can see how nicely it accepts this watercolor. Works just great. So if you should have some other paper, you know, that you want to use up, and you don't, you know, it's not for watercolor, you can always get some watercolor ground and use it. I added some blue into that one and a little bit here. A little more water on my brush right now. So, all right, so I'm going to leave that like that and let that dry. These are pretty much dry now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my acrylic white, and I'm just going to add these really cute polka dots all over the boots. So, you know, yes, you can use acrylic paints with watercolor paints. Just depends on what you're doing and what effect you want and so forth and so on. But yes, I have them. I have certain colors. I have white, yellow, a light green, and Indian yellow on my palette of acrylic. I mean, not on my palette, with my paints in separate containers. You know, because I don't want my acrylics to mix with my watercolor. Now, to get a bit more of a darker edge here, we're going to, this is the back of the boot, so careful you don't put your finger into your paints like I just did. If you did, no harm, no foul. Okay. All right, so that outlined the boots a little bit more, which I wanted. And there's a shadow in here, see? Because the one boot's sitting behind the other, so we're going to add that in to a degree, right? Okay. I guess I need to get a couple more little dots in here, little polka dots to this boot. So there, now we have our green polka dotted boots. What I thought I'd choose for flowers would be the tulips. So I'm going to get a nice rose here onto my little palette. And in watercolor, you start out light. So I have nothing drawn here. I just want to make a real, you know, brief, quick little flower. It's not going to be anything special, so we're not going to worry about it too much. Just going to put in certain areas for a happy spring flower. Okay, that's that one, and I'm going to take some of that off, and right around the tips, I wanted the tip of the one, I meant to keep that like a white, so I'm going to pull some out. So that means I'm going to go take the color off my brush, go into the paints, you know, that I have on here and dab it a little bit, go back in and put some darker colors around for the shadow, and that gives the very tip of the flower the little highlight that we want, right? See? So that's fine. Then I'm going to go into the yellow, get a yellow here, and I'm kind of going to do the same thing, all using this wonderful little tip of my brush. of this wonderful brush. I praise them all the time. I guess by now I ought to, maybe I could get some off. Anyway, I don't need any more right now. I have plenty. I just got a set that was, this one came with a set that was way too big. I didn't realize what I had gotten. And I could only use I could use all of them, but I only really need to use the, this one here and this one here, which is a 18, this is a 14. But the tips are so great that you can, use them like this. Okay, that's the yellow one. And then we're going to take a red, a nice red, darker red. And up here, I'm going to, well, actually, I guess I'll come down in here. Try to make these cute little, and there's a little thing right there. I went over this piece of grass that I had already painted. This is a pretty dark pigmented color. So I can, go over it, and then in that little spot where it is, just keep with my wettish brush there and just keep pressing, putting the paint down. And what will happen is it will just, get rid of that color that you see, and you won't see it anymore of the green. So just kind of go like this, and then what I wanted here was a highlighted side of a petal. So I just come around like that, and then on the bottom we'll just put the color, some color back in. I don't want to get real specific here. I want to keep this fairly short. And then I think we'll do an orange. So with a little bit of the yellow that I had on the page, and turn my paper a little bit, I'm going to kind of draw out the shape of the tulip. Tulips are like some of my favorite flowers. So pretty. The colors are all so pretty. And then we're just going to do this, and just going to do this, and give it so there. And then so we're just going to color this in, leaving a couple of nice white areas. I want to get that. I'm going to add a little red to my orange color that I have here for the bottoms, the bottom area, for like the shadow. Look at how wonderful this brush does. Now also my paper is dry. On this particular painting, my paper is going to be mostly dry. So as you can see, and now we'll water that down a little bit more to fill in some other spaces. Take some of that color out right there and there for the highlight. Go back in and come back in here because it dries lighter. And just in certain areas, put in some darker color. Oh, pretty. There we have an orangey colored one. I mean, there's so many colors you can do. And I think what I'm going to do is go into my Indian yellow of the, it's starting to harden. I guess I better add some more water in there, of my acrylic. I love that color. And I can use it similar to watercolor. So I'm going to just come here, and I'm going to kind of make that shape of a tulip. Come down, leave a little white there. Take a little bit out right there for the highlight. Oh, that's pretty when it happens. So pretty. And then, add some darker. So you see, I'm using acrylic here in with the watercolor. It can be done. And this is, like I said, this is mixed media paper with watercolor grounds. A little bit of red on there so I can define this this petal right here. Just kind of put some down at the bottoms, drag it around. move it around a little. Take some out for that. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go back into my greens a little, and because that one's kind of behind, it's going behind, so I'm going to come like this, and so that you can, follow that up to this. And I like the little green, some of the greens that go into the stem, into the flowers. I didn't do it when I first did these other ones. I'm sorry, I forgot. Well, we'll just kind of watery add it back in and come back to our green. I meant to do that. I got talking, and then that's what happens. Okay, and then, we're going to follow this stem. Unfortunately, it's that one that is behind this leaf. Now, this came out where this appears to be folded. I love the way that I did not plan that. That just happened. And I love that. So you see, if you followed this kind of down, it kind of looks like it just went, because I'm making it darker, it looks like it folded over. That's very pretty. Happy accidents, right? So far this is looking very nice. I'm going to take some orange and come in here and kind of spruce this one up a little bit of red. Not in too many places, just a few scattered around places. Taking some out for the highlight up here and over here and here. All right. All being done with this fairly big looking brush with this really amazing tip. I'm sorry, I was wiping it off. I want to be sure to get that white out and that Indian yellow out, because these are the same brushes that I use for watercolor. So I have to make sure that I keep, you have to make sure that, and when I'm done, I'll even be washing them again, because when I use acrylics as well, I like to make sure that I have it all out, or you're going to ruin your brush. But if you're careful and so forth, you won't. So that's the whole bottom line of that, really. So I'm just kind of adding with some water on my brush. I'm sort of moving around some greens here. Just kind of putting a few green areas. Holds a lot of paint too. That into here. So I love that green, nature color. The greens that slip into the flowers, they end up getting into the actual flower. I think that's so pretty when that happens. Kind of. Okay. All right, so these are very pastel-y flowers because it's spring. So instead of making really strong flowers, I decided to make them more pastel-y soft. So right now I just added some rose into my greens with the yellow and so forth. And we're going to, because it's very good to put harmony from the colors of your painting into, the objects. Get them around with into the other objects. It will add to your painting, and it's very pretty once it's done. I need to just get the rose. There we go. Just in some areas, you're just going to, and your eye's going to go there, and it's going to say, oh, there's some red there, and there's red over there, and there's like some pink over there. And so that's, what just makes the painting interesting, and in my opinion, very, very nicely harmonized and so forth. So just in different areas, and in different little places, you add those things in. See? Keeping everything in harmony. I'm going to add a little bit of red on this side here. And right at the tip, like this. Take that off, come back in and kind of move it around a little. Yeah, that's a lot prettier. So I can do lots of different, and which I'm going to, lots of different colored leaves. I've got on my palette right now, in one specific area, in several specific areas actually, I've got greens, yellows, blues, rose colors, red color, and they're all kind of mixed up in different places on my palette, which often, usually, always gives me the most beautiful blends of colors. And to me, they look more natural as well, because leaves and greenery are always lots of different colors. Oh, my polka dots are under there. I was wondering what the issue was. Okay. I forgot about the polka dots. Okay, now on the very tip of this one here, we're going to add some yellow right on the tips like this in the front, because that old sun is just coming down and beating on it, the sunlight. And I like to also put the yellow in the flowers. So let's get some yellow going on in different places on these, on all these flowers. Well, I guess I need to get more on my yellow. Okay, there you go. See a hint of yellow there. So pretty, so very, very pretty. Yellows and reds and pinks. Oh, I just think that's just the prettiest thing. So we really just, I'm going to change my brush, wash it really, really well, wash it out very well, and then I will again when I'm finished, but get it washed out nicely, and then also shape it. And now I'm going to go to one of my smaller nicely tipped brushes here. And this one is Simply Simmons. And what I want to do is I just want to make get a smaller brush for some greenery, like just in here, like this. And then take some yellow, mix that in, just to add to all the, and I'm just, with my tip, add some orange in there. I'm just dabbing here and there for this, and then I'm going to get a little darker for right inside, right around the boot, right? So we want, we've got to have the lights and the darks. So we're just going to put some in here and there, flick it around. Can make long ones, short ones, but it's just kind of adding to the greenery that I have all over. Put some blue right here because I lost that really. I love a touch of the blues amongst the greenery. See how pretty that actually looks. So that just, to me adds nice touches. And then amongst all of those, I'm going to go into my yellow, and mostly yellow. I'm going to take one with mostly yellow on it, and it's going to be the acrylic yellow. And I'm going to, along with some watercolor yellow, and that one is just kind of sticks out, right? Which is what I want it to do. I'll add a little darker down here, a little bit of wash that out really well. Get a little darker green right down in here. It does not mix like watercolor mixes, so you have to do a lot of the work, but I mean, you can use it. I kind of like I like the yellow, using the yellow, because it makes one particular area stand out a lot, which is my whole point right now in doing this. See? And then probably right there. and maybe one right there. You just have to kind of, where do I want it, you know? And flick your brush. Some of the best stuff is when you just flick your brush around. And that, my friends, oh, wait a minute, one other thing. Okay, we've lost a lot of the polka dots, and I wanted to see the polka dots. So I'm just going to come back in with that acrylic white. Dab a little harder this time, and that's fine right there. There's a lot of things I could do with this, but I don't want this video to go long, and it's just a quick little spring tutorial, and I've done a lot of bunny ones for Easter, so I didn't want to add a bunny to this one. But I hope you like it, folks. Cute little spring video. Sorry there. And you can choose to do however you want. You might want to have all red flowers, all yellow, all, oh, there was one other color flower I wanted to make because I love this color. Viridian, I think, is the name of it. And I think I'm going to put it right here. I'm just going to add it in like it's sitting there. No big deal. It doesn't really show too much water on there. It's not going to be formed terrifically. I'm going to do this a loose one. It's just sitting in with the other ones. And there's my little highlight. And I like that because that one kind of does. I like to always have one that kind of stands out, right? So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed it, folks. I'll probably do a couple other spring ones as well, being the first day of spring. Try it out. Let me know. Put your painting down in the comments if you want. Check out some of my other tutorials. There's some really helpful things in every single tutorial. I like to teach a little something, go fairly slow. And you can also zoom in, zoom out, whatever you have to do. Slow it down. And have a great super day. Take care now. Bye for now.